It's the way of
you
things.
know, it's the way they've been fucking taught history too. They know nothing about their fucking history. Nothing. Fucking sound bites, information bites, the next little fucking cheap thrill.
The next generation is really quite cretinous, I have to be honest about it. So if you think about when we went to school, and there were state schools, but we studied history and we studied geography and religious education, etc. Now that's all bunged together in one subject called humanities. So it's impossible to go into anything with any great detail, such as the history of your nation and your people, and then added to this with modern forms of communication, it's definitely lowered people's attention span. So all in all, we've ended up with a sort of nation of cretinous zombies who aren't much good for anything.
Carter, did she die in vain?
You know, I mean, I don't think technology has improved our lives, and I think that the dumbing down of the population, or I don't think it has been orchestrated. It's Tavistock stuff. I've seen the papers about the you know, the adult
We're consumers.
Adult education and adult entertainment should be like 6th grade level, and then when you think about bands like Oasis and the great dumbing down, they sort of personify it really. I mean, I quite like a couple of their songs, but I don't like the trends in our society. I don't like the way man's gone, and the only way again I can process this is through Killing Joke and venting my angst lyrically with Paul and the band, but I don't like the way it's going. No, I mean my brother works at CERN, that great big collider near Geneva, and they're trying desperately to make a great big fucking black hole that we can all fall into for billions and billions. And I said to my brother, I would shut it down and I would spend the money on food production, you know, which I would. I think it's insane what's happening on the planet. Don't get me started. That's just the beginning. I mean, just what's happening is absolutely insane. Crimes against nature. This is what youth says that people will be tried for in the future. The US military is one of the biggest polluters of the planet. But, I mean, it just goes, where do we stop? I mean, we're just going to have a dead planet, aren't we? Unless we turn it around. The amount of organisms that make up life are just being depleted so rapidly. We're using 1/300th of the planet for all our food supply. I mean, that's fucking dangerous.
So are we thinking about whether albums are going to survive?
Right.
Not really.
I do think so in these later years, although it was quite funny because we didn't print the lyrics of the first album, so they thought all sorts of things. We've been writing about all sorts of things on the first album, but I do think so, and yet I don't think coherence, lyrical coherence is as important as the animal factor within Killing Joke, which is just a gut feeling. It's beyond language, and we play in many other countries where they don't really understand English. Let's be honest. And so the lyrics aren't absolutely essential, and yet they're there if people want to tap into them. I'm very proud of our lyrics, aren't you?
Me too, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is a very political piece, isn't it, Killing Joke? When you're always singing about real subjects.
Not again. I don't call us a political band in the same way the Clash were. We're concerned citizens, you know, like very concerned citizens that want to exercise their right to speak freely. I mean, you know, I was brought up my dad saying, "Oh, it's a free country," but is it a free country anymore? Can you really say, until they tell us that it's not a free country?
Well, I think we're being sold permissiveness as freedom, and it's not the same fucking thing. It's actually a great cause of misery.
Not really, actually. Surprisingly, that's something that comes fairly swiftly.
Okay.
You know, we each have our input, and Jazz is the final arbiter of what he wants to sing. But our writings are pretty much on the same page.
You can't, Paul, it's funny actually, because when you've been in a band all these years, and we are in our, well actually Paul and myself, we've done 35 years actually in terms of time, but generally speaking our 35th year, you kind of grow together in your creativity to the point that I can't really distinguish Paul's writing of lyrics to mine. His style is very similar, actually, in many respects, to my own writing style. So they kind of, I think that's just because we kind of grew in our formative teenage years together and the way we created, you know.
Even you know the records that I wasn't on. Lyrically, I've always thought, yes, Chess, that's it. That's exactly it. You know, I've never felt like I wasn't part of it, even if I wasn't at that time. You know.
And there's also that interest in magic, for want of a better word, that I guess kind of unites.
The metaphysical, the metaphysical, and youth more than most in this band actually these days. The archdruid himself.
Yeah.
It was very funny because when they opened up Stonehenge to let the druids back into their winter and summer solstices, it was a few years back. Of course, youth being a druid, he attended. It was this marvellous moment with the BBC camera swung round. There's all these druids, and suddenly there's youth at the back rolling. In his druid's outfit, you know. Unbelievable. I was absolutely howling when I saw it. There he was.
I mean, is that a bond, would you say, between you as people?
Sure, we look at different schools of thinking, and of course we ask questions about the big one and this existence, and I'm glad that I'm in a band that asks those sort of questions and looks at all sorts of possibilities about how come, for example, we have like brains of 150 square centimeters and monkeys only have fucking 10 square centimeters. How come we evolved in such a short period of time? How come Charles Darwin didn't mention this in his masterpiece, his opus magnum? Yeah, we speculate on everything. To do with our possible origins and different schools of thinking and magical traditions, yes, shamanistic traditions, history, the whole of the West being taken for a ride by international bankers, the origins of the Federal Reserve as a private bank in 1913 to the European Central Bank. And just the whole scam of it all, yes, we talk about all these things and much, much, much more. And it's a great big forum, Killing Joke. And it doesn't stop with the members of the band. The gathering and all the people around us, they're part of that huge debate on multiple topics as well. And I'm glad that we're part of this beast. That fan base that you're talking about is a reflection of the bond that we have amongst each other. Because in the end, Killing Joke is just 4 people, and it's a microcosm of a much wider world. And if we can resolve things in that microcosm, in our little band, it says there's hope for the world in my book. Oh, well, you see, the problem here is I don't use mobile phones and I don't use computers, so I'm out of the loop.
So when he decides to take himself off somewhere, no one else knows about it.
And there's also, yes.
Yeah, we think, what's he up to this time? Well, when was the last time you saw him and what did he say? Well, he looked a bit weird. He looked a bit troubled at the time. Oh dear.
Yeah. I was in the Western Sahara.
Not that he hasn't done it before, you know.
I saw his hippie came up to me and I was just over the border in Western Sahara. He went, "They're all looking for you, man." It was a priceless moment.
Yeah, we did have some obligations at the time, which unfortunately we had to cancel. You know, we've been through so much shit together that it doesn't matter.
Oh, much worse than you think, or you could imagine, eh?
Thankfully, we've all come through all of that with still actually liking each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And forgiveness is a great thing.
Right.
Hopefully we're not going to die, and we've got a new album this year. It's going to make the rest of our albums that we've done look insignificant. This aspiration.
Hear, hear.